Hi, welcome to this video by Feminine Vitae magazine. In this series we've interviewed different women with reproductive health conditions on how they manage their well-being. Today we're joined by Sarah, who has PMDD. So to start off, could you just give us a quick introduction of yourself, your name, your age and your occupation?
My name's Sarah Rawsthorne, and I'm newly turned 52, and I run a company called Mind Mechanics. So we deliver self-regulation mental health programs in schools for children and young people, and we also deliver consultation and training in the workplace around managing mental health.
Okay, so have you been diagnosed with a reproductive health condition, and if so, how was the process of getting diagnosed?
Well, that's interesting because I self-diagnosed about 10 years ago, and then met with my GP, who was in agreement with my diagnosis. Mm-hmm. So I knew that I'd always experienced PMS, but actually I felt that my symptoms were outside the normal boundaries of PMS, and so just by talking to a friend at the school gates, I discovered that she had been diagnosed with PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which I'd never heard of before. And I chatted a little bit to her and then went away and did a bit of my own research, and I could identify with every single symptom that I found was listed. So then I went to my GP, and she was in agreement that my symptoms meant that I did in fact experience PMDD.
Okay. Do you think there's enough understanding about this condition, or do you think there are lots of misconceptions about it?
I just think that not enough people know about it, really. It was terminology that I hadn't heard of, and I'd been having symptoms since I can definitely say since I was 18, but then I had my daughter when I was 35, and I think that the symptoms were exacerbated following having my daughter, and so I had very severe symptoms for 10 years without realising that perhaps I was experiencing something other than PMS. So I went for 10 years really struggling, and the impact of that on my relationship with my husband, and the impact of experiencing PMDD on work, and just really struggling trying to manage it myself using sort of techniques that you might use to manage PMS, and failing really, because I needed more support and medical support. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the reason I'm talking to you today is because I don't want other young women to live their lives from 18 to 45 experiencing the sort of symptoms that I had without having any medical support.
So what kind of symptoms was this causing you to have?
Okay, so PMDD is can be described as PMS on steroids. So I think that the features that differentiate it from PMS are largely psychological issues. I mean, there are the usual physical symptoms, around pain and bloating and headaches and so on that you would get with PMS. But with PMDD, I really wasn't coping emotionally or mentally. So just for a period of 10 days every month, but regular as clockwork, 10 days before my period, I would feel extraordinarily anxious and extremely depressed, and find it very difficult to manage any mildly stressful situations. I wasn't making good decisions during that period of time. And I was very, very unhappy and just not seeing things clearly and objectively. I was seeing things through a PMDD lens. As soon as my period started, bingo, back to normal, seeing things as I would normally.
How would you describe the kind of symptoms you experience to someone that doesn't have the condition?
Okay, so primarily the challenges were in my relationship with the people that I loved the most and trusted the most and felt most safe with. So I just wasn't self-managing and self-regulating. Work-wise, obviously I was very tired. I worked in a very demanding job, but sometimes if there was a very challenging or stressful situation within the workplace, I wasn't able to manage that as I would be able to the rest of the month. So my recommendation would be to talk to your manager and to educate them around the condition, so that they're aware and they're able to be supportive if needs be. And also to encourage workplaces to take up mental health and well-being strategy training, so that all members of a team are aware of what their colleagues might be going through, but also equipped to self-regulate themselves, so to manage themselves and to support colleagues who might be experiencing mental health challenges.
Do you have any triggers, any contexts or situations that make your symptoms worse?
I can only answer this in the past tense because I'm one of the few women who is absolutely joyful and is celebrating having reached the menopause, because of course now I'm premenopausal or menopausal. It means that I don't have periods, which means that I don't have PMDD for the first time, in a long time. So I'm not aware of any particular triggers. The triggers are all related to hormones and the menstrual cycle.
Right, okay. Do you have any nutritional or lifestyle suggestions that you use to help you manage your symptoms?
I do, yes. So my own company delivers programs around well-being and mental health, and they're all the strategies that I have learned and been taught and used over the past 20 years. So I've worked with psychologists and counsellors through my professional life and in my personal life to develop a battery of resources to draw upon. So, I regularly attend the gym, I do yoga, I engage in mindfulness, I ensure that resilience building activities are part of my family's way of being. CBT I'm aware of, so I've got a huge amount of resources to draw upon that I can now employ.
Where do you get your support from, either in person through family or friends, or any online groups that you're part of?
Yeah, my friends are fantastic. I'm very lucky. I have a really strong network of female friends, one of whom actually also experiences PMDD. So that's been a tremendous source of peer support. Mm-hmm. But there are also increasingly PMDD support groups online. So I'm a member of 2 support groups just through Facebook. And actually now I feel like I'm the wise old woman and I can offer some advice and support to younger women who are perhaps just beginning self-diagnosis.
That's good. So what kind of advice would you give those people who've just been diagnosed with PMDD or who think that they might have it?
So my advice is twofold really. It's one, to go to the GP and explore which method of treatment is going to be the most appropriate for them, but it's also about self-care.
Thank you for watching this interview by Feminine Vitae magazine. If you'd like to find out more about the different reproductive health conditions and how different women manage their symptoms, please visit femininevitae.co.uk. Thanks for watching.